Jesus chose the road that most would not take. He took the road that he alone could travel. During his lifetime, Jesus met a lot of people on the road. He met people who were in need of a healing, a wise word, compassion, love, and truth. He met rich men, poor men, noblemen, servants, and learned men. He even met Martha, the woman at the well, some of his followers, and his disciples, all on the road. Jesus traveled many roads during his ministry. The road to Jericho, Nazareth, Judea, Capernaum, Samaria, Jerusalem, Calvary, and later, after the resurrection, the road to Emmaus. But on this day, on this Palm Sunday, Jesus was on the road to Jerusalem. But he was really on the road to fulfill his divine purpose. Unfortunately, the praise the people lavished on Jesus was not because they recognized him as their Messiah, as a leader of a spiritual kingdom. They welcomed him out of their desire for a deliverer, but that's not what he was there to do. Jesus knew this. He understood all of this when he decided to go down that road. He knew that in a matter of days, those same folks who were hailing him as the king would quickly turn against him because he would refuse to lead them in the revolt against the occupiers. He knew that their cries of Hosanna in the highest would turn into crucify him. But still, he chose to go down that road. Mr. Webster's definition of a road is a path, a course of action or behavior that leads to a particular outcome. We all know where the road to Jerusalem led. It led to his arrest, brutal torture, conviction, and crucifixion. Jesus walked this road fully aware of its outcome, yet he still chose the road. Jesus walked that road because it was one that would ultimately lead him to freedom, to truth, to life. It was a road that would dispel the illusion of death and fear, a road that would liberate men from the bondage of error thinking. Jesus' willingness to walk that road with love, grace, hope, and faith in the appearance of death and darkness is a testament to his willingness to live according to his truth. He understood that when he took that road, there was no turning back. And believe me, he could have easily walked away. There's a quote from Buddha, which I love, that fits this perfectly. And it says, "You cannot travel the path until you have become the path itself." Jesus understood that road was a path to his divinity. And by taking that road, he was showing us how to uncover our own true Christ selves. He was showing us that we are infinite and eternal because we're spiritual beings and death cannot harm us. He was also showing us that we are never alone. We're never abandoned or unloved when we walk the road of life with God, even as we walk into the very gates of death itself. Jesus knew that he was on the road to transformation and transcendence. He understood that all roads lead to good, no matter what they look like and no matter how they change. It is only through embracing change that we can step into the lives we were born to live. It is learning to say yes to change and continuing to say yes, even as the very road itself changes. Jesus embraced the change his road would bring that day. He said yes to the road and to the change that he knew was coming. He embraced the idea of expressing his true nature. He was fully embracing his awareness that the Father and I are one, that I am that I am, and that God is all that there is. saying yes to change doesn't mean that things are not going to be easy or that they're going to be comfortable. In most cases, at least initially, it's the exact opposite. Real change, it isn't for the worrier, the doubter, or the person who's unwilling to exercise their faith. It's for someone who's ready to say, I've had enough of limitations and fear. I've reached the end of the road where the old ways aren't working for me anymore. They aren't my truth, and I'm ready to step into the possibilities that await me on the other side of yes. I'm ready for yes. I'm ready for the road to change. As we travel the road in life, things can and often do change. However, changes always show us that part of ourselves which we need to work on, which is our minds, our consciousness. Our consciousness of accepting and choosing change, of choosing to work with our belief systems, of finding our true selves, and intentionally connecting with our divinity. We can only make those changes through a commitment to do the inner work. Jesus must have worked with his mind in order to get on the road to Jerusalem that day. He had to first do the inner work. And I believe that's what he was doing when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus is reminding us here that when we're in situations where there seems to be no way out, where there's no hope, we may believe that our faith, our love, and our wisdom have somehow left us. But it's exactly times like those that we have to remind ourselves to continue exercising our faith, to continue to know the truth, and to not be tempted by error thinking or fear. It reads that Jesus said, "Oh, my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. But let it not be as I will, but as thou wilt." Let me give you some cultural perspective here. In the Middle East, when someone wants to get rid of their enemy, they invite them to a lavish party. And they make sure that their cup of wine has some poison in it. No guest would refuse to drink from the cup. They would either take their chances and drink it or run. Jesus understood that the religious authorities were the ones who would poison his cup because they would not accept him as the Christ. This shows us that Jesus was deep in conflict about taking the road. But he did. And in order to walk that road, he had to face those misgivings. He had to overcome them. And he had to keep moving forward. He chose the road. He understood that he couldn't take any baggage with him. So he prepared for the journey by clearing away all of his personal stuff. He cleared his mind of all doubt, fear, negativity, unbelief, error thinking, unforgiveness, judgment, condemnation. He released anything from his consciousness that was unlike God, unlike the truth of what God is and who God was in him. He was letting go of Jesus, the man, and preparing to walk in his divinity. On his journey, Jesus understood that he had taken his disciples as far as he could, and now they had to go on alone. They had walked with him as far as they could go, and he knew that he had to leave them behind. The Last Supper was his way of closing the door of their dependence upon him and opening the door for them to stand on their own. He knew that where he was going, they could not follow. He understood that he alone had to choose that road. He said yes to the road. Are you willing to say yes to the life that's calling to you? Are you ready, willing, and able to make the changes that you need to make in your life in order to go down the road that God has ordained for you? Choosing the right path in life requires listening to that quiet voice within that's directing you towards your divine purpose in life. Seeking, searching, striving for truth is a response that originates from the innermost being. It doesn't come from looking at the appearance, the situation, or the curves or rocks in the road. Everyone has a truth that they must live, a truth which they must recognize in their own lives. Just like Jesus, you must be courageous as you face your deepest and darkest fears on your own road. This doesn't mean that you have to walk the exact same road that Jesus did. He chose the road that he knew would be fraught with conflict, hardship, and persecution. What it does mean is whatever road you choose, you have to choose the one that is right for you and face it without fear. If we allow ourselves to be detoured by our fears, it would lead us on a road of shame, mistrust, debt, poor health, lack of love, confusion, and closed-mindedness. When we allow Spirit to direct our path, we will always be placed on the road of love, peace, joy, freedom, grace, and truth. Life is a sacred journey, and we're all on a divine path. The road you're on is exactly where you're meant to be right now. It's the right place because it's where you are right now. It may not feel like it or look like it, but we choose to learn certain lessons in life. Some lessons can be hard, graceful, or easy. The path you take today determines your outcome tomorrow, and if left unaltered, it determines your life's outcome. Just like Jesus, we have a choice. We don't have to stay on the same road we've been going along. We can choose another path. Are you willing to walk in your divinity? Can you find or see the good in the road you're on? Can you say yes to the changes in your road? Do you need to choose a new road? Is it a road that's taking you to perfect health? If it's not, choose another road. Is it a road that's taking you to prosperity and abundance? If it's not, choose another road. Is it a road that's taking you to peace, love, and joy? If it's not, choose another road. Is it a road that's taking you to compassion, grace, and forgiveness? If it's not, choose another road. Is it a road that's taking you into pain, guilt, regret, and suffering? If it is, choose another road. Is it a road that's taking you into fear and negativity? If it is, get off that road and choose another road. What road will you choose today? Are you willing to choose the road to peace, forgiveness, health, love, joy, prosperity, wisdom, spiritual growth, healing, and abundance? Then if you are, just like Jesus, you must be willing to die to that part of yourself, that consciousness which no longer serves you, in order to be born into a greater version of who and what you really are. So in Spirit family, choose your road. And once you choose it, start walking.